I live in Adelaide, so I come from Australia, and I arrived in New Zealand, Auckland, on Monday. And I think I've had 8 different taxi drivers, and I think 7 out of those 8 have reminded me about the event on Saturday.
Your presentation, huh?
So I thought I'd get that out of the way if anyone else wants to have a chat. And that doesn't include the people in the offices or customers and partners I've spoken to as well. Yes, and I have been at Oracle for a fair while, so I've seen Oracle go through the company I joined has changed many times. And I will say the change that Oracle is going through probably in the last, I'd say, year and a half is significant. And I feel like I've actually joined another company without having to leave a company and start again. So Oracle, very much a traditional on-premise organisation. That organisation is gone. And we're going through a lot of pain internally, and that's coming about because of what the marketplace is looking for, what our customers are demanding us. So I'm going to share some of those stories. First slide I'll show though is from the National Institute of Standards and Technology. I like to show this first because when you talk cloud means many different things for many different people, and people can get very passionate about the different subtleties of it. So just to explain, hey, cloud does mean many different things. There's still a lot of people, we're hearing a lot about public cloud. I've spoken to organisations that have gone to the public cloud journey, and now they're re-establishing their own private cloud. They have a blend. So I can see things are moving very quickly in this space. But I wanted to talk a little bit about why cloud is so popular and what's driving a lot of what we're seeing right now. So in 2012, we saw that there were 9 billion internet devices that were counted that do something on the internet. And we can see that's going to grow 50 times that by 2020. Out of all the data that exists on the planet right now, 90% of it was created in the last 2 years, and we can see it's going to grow by 50 times that by 2020. There are 7 billion mobile subscribers on the planet today. That figure is wrong. There are 7 billion. That means 87% of the world's population have got 1, 2, 3 or 4 devices out there, as we know. And the data that's generated from using those devices is growing around about 80% year on year. Out of all the software that was released last year, we can see 90% of it is actually being delivered by a cloud-based paradigm. And that's because people want it. They want functionality very quickly. And we can see that business it's being measured at about $107 billion. And the last point, and I like the last point because I've been around IT for a while, we're actually starting to appreciate our elders here. There are applications in our organisation that we're trying to work out how can we really appreciate what they do. And Gartner talks about pace layering and system of record. And I look at this and I go, yes, we're celebrating what that's all about. So let's talk about the things that we need to look at. And there's 2 ways of looking at what's on this slide. I can look with fear or I can look with excitement. So what I'm saying is a lot of how I choose to take my next steps is purely dependent upon my attitude. And I can see that with particular customers. But let's talk a little bit about this to make it easy for us to absorb. So in the top corner, the top left-hand corner, we look at what we've currently got or what we've had for a while. So they're our on-premise applications. We're looking after them. We're trying to work out how we can do more with them. In parallel, we've got different parts of our organisation taking on these new cloud-based applications. And a lot of these cloud-based apps actually don't do anywhere near as much of what our enterprise apps do. They actually do a very thin layer. They just do something very fine. They give us a quick grab at doing something. We've actually got more environments than ever because we're now caring about what was in our data centre, what was in our offshore or third-party organisations looking after stuff, and now we've also got these cloud-based environment providers as well. In the top there, we've got what's happening around DevOps, big data, digital business, digital activity, lots of exciting value-add activities. We've also started to appreciate the role social media can play. It can actually create a vacuum or some energy for people to start participating in. And then very, very key, and I loved to hearing what we heard from Gareth and from Sean, the importance of identity, the importance of security. That is incredibly important. Totally value what those guys were saying. If you think about identity carefully and you think about it once, you can then apply it many, many times. It will then give you momentum for your digital initiatives. It will also give you further relevance. And then things like security get looked after automatically. And things like data retention is actually managed accordingly as well. And we still have to be aware we've got to look after everything. We've got a duty of care for our organisations. And we've already seen, everyone's got a mobile device. You heard it on the previous slide. We are accessing our applications, social media, internet more now with these devices, and most of us are doing it, 70 or 80% of the day. How many people keep one next to their bed when they go to bed, right? It's not good. Ask my wife. So what's Oracle doing? Well, there's no question Oracle has actually driven to this space very aggressively. Very aggressively. Like I said, it's actually caused pain. We as an organisation have been focused on these nice big licenses with support for a long time, right? And now Oracle is nearly throwing that out the water. Nearly throwing it out the water. And we've spent a lot of time creating a lot of value in the software as a service. So things around sales, service, configure price quote, human capital management, there's a heap of those. So we've driven a lot of success in this space. We've become a major player in that software as a service. What Oracle's been driven to now, more so by our customers, is that having that software as a service is not enough. Because as our customers have actually said, we've got a lot of on-premise, we've got lots of these SaaS applications, and things keep changing. We need a Swiss Army knife. We need that sort of capability to keep things moving, keep things aligning. So we need some additional help. And that's where the platform as a service stuff comes in. It's the Swiss Army knife. And so Oracle now has had to share how we've gotten our SaaS apps out there aggressively. We've had to share the tooling we've used to do that to also drive that in the marketplace. So I'm going to briefly talk to you about what that platform as a service is. And you can see I've got some areas highlighted. I'm going to go first through what database in Java means. Traditionally, they have been rocket scientist products that we've kept in the back office. So I'm going to show you that we're actually making them available in a much more consumable, easier to use approach. And then we've got those brown boxes, things like documents, mobile, process and integration, and they're more about just driving some value. So I'm going to go through that relatively quickly. So what does the database look like? You get a number of flavours of the database. You can get this thing called the virtual image database, which is exactly the sort of thing you can get from providers like Microsoft and Amazon, etc. Extremely, you can compare those products. And then we've got this thing called database as a service. And I'll show you what that means in a moment. And we've also got a similar thing with Java. We've got the virtual image, which is very similar to what we can get from other providers. And then we've got this thing called the Java Cloud Service. And then we've got one which is a companion product to any SaaS product. And for every customer that acquires some of the Java stuff, you actually get free access to what we call the Developer Cloud Service. So it's a heap of tooling to actually help collaboration on projects. So let's have a look at how much this stuff costs. So if I just wanted 160 hours of using the virtual image stuff, we're talking $244, 160 hours. So you can turn that on and off accordingly. If you actually wanted 1 month and you just keep the thing running, and we can have a party of people accessing this, we're talking $730. So this is, it doesn't look like traditional Oracle pricing, right? It doesn't look like anything I've seen before. You know, you go back a year and you go, this doesn't make sense. No, I'm sorry, you're talking to the wrong organisation. This actually gives you hardware and software and manageability, and you don't have to worry about anything else. You can just start accessing it. Even if you go to Amazon and get an instance of an operating system, you still have to bring your own WebLogic license there, and you still have to pay for support. This, you don't need to do that. So let's have a look at what this thing looks like. When I log on as a subscription user, because it's aware I've got access to so many services, I get this little dashboard that shows me what I've got access to. I'm interested in all of those things. You've got Java, you've got documents, you've got integration. It gives you a quick KPI on what's there. As a database user, I can actually bring up something that looks nothing like a DBA's monitoring screen or enterprise management screen. It actually looks like something my wife would look at, right? And I shouldn't have said that. Something like my dad would look at, right? And because my wife does actually help me a bit. So there we actually have something. You go, I know what's there. I can click on that. I know I've got a database there. I've got so many instances of a database running. I can see there's a bit of a load on it. I can see I've still got some space there, etc. I'm not getting technical. I can just use this thing. And every database comes ready to use for Applications Express. Exactly the same interface for WebLogic. And WebLogic is a more technical product than the database. Once again, it's very easy to consume. And when I actually start to acquire this, I don't acquire exactly which product I'm looking at. I acquire what we call a pool of funds, and I can shape it accordingly. I can say I want standard edition database right now, and then I can say I want 2 CPUs of WebLogic Suite, and I can shape it accordingly, right? Because how often do you think you've got it right and things change? And the other thing that's really, really cool, Oracle actually tells you how to patch, what patches are available, and if you want to apply them, you click that button. As a technical person, applying patches is hard. It's actually got to be really aware of how do you roll it back, when are you going to do it, how do you affect things. So we do patches, and we also do the backups there for you as well. So who are some of the customers that have been doing this? Here are a number of customers. I'll actually focus on the bottom one here, National Pharmacies. It's an Adelaide-based company, very small organisation that has got pharmacies out there. It's a non-profit pharmacy. They actually have got members, and they needed to actually release some applications for their members and for their staff. And they don't have much spend. They do have a data centre, very small, and they've got 3 IT folks. And they wanted to get some stuff up and going. They wanted to get some mobile apps up and going. So they have actually pursued looking at some Java Cloud and some Database Cloud to actually do the provisioning of this. And we're doing it relatively quickly. So let's have a look at let's revisit what Oracle's providing here. Oracle is providing infrastructure as a service, very similar to many other players out there. But because we're providing our SaaS-based applications and this PaaS capability, we realise that our customers are demanding that we've got a lot of knowledge about what they're using and how they're using it. So they expect us to do a lot more. Things around integration, security, analytics, etc. The other thing that our customers are demanding as well, they say, we know what you're doing, Oracle. We know exactly what you're doing. You're creating these SaaS-based revenues and these PaaS-based revenues, and you want us to use all of that. We actually want to have a similar sort of infrastructure so we can run the same thing in our own data centre down the track. So Oracle is committed to whatever we're providing from a PaaS perspective. We will make that available via the public cloud, and when you want to, at some point in time, it's not ready right now, if you want to take the same interface which we're using, the database, Java, etc., you can set up your own exactly the same cloud platform within your own organisation. Very cool capability. So this becomes that Swiss Army knife I've spoken about. If organisations have got SaaS and they're trying to work out how to jigsaw it together with their on-premise, this is that PaaS-based Swiss Army knife. I'm now going to go through relatively quickly things like integration cloud. What is it? Why do you need it? What does it look like? I'm then going to go through mobile cloud, and then two of my favourites, document cloud and process cloud. So, integration cloud, let's have a chat about it. What is it? We realise organisations are running and picking up these SaaS-based subscriptions. We've heard it already. Gareth was talking about how many, people aren't even aware of it. And Oracle has been told by its customer base, we've got more islands of information than we had when it was just on-premise. So what Oracle's been driven towards with this integration cloud is, how do you access these preloaded connections and integrations? And given half the stuff we've got belongs to Oracle, whether it's eBiz or JDE or Sales Cloud or Service Cloud, Oracle, why can't you just give us the integrations? Why do we have to build that? And how do we do it for our on-premise stuff? How do we also publish these integrations so we can then do other things with it, like have it for a B2B initiative or for some other mobile initiative? And things will go wrong, so we want an interface that will actually help us look at that. So let's have a look at what the product looks like. So this is called the Integration Cloud Service. Actually, let me say something else. The database and the Java and the document cloud services are available right now. You can buy those right now, okay? So I'd encourage people, to consider that. Products like integration, process and mobile that I'm showing you now, they are being looked at to be released in the next 60 days, okay? So I just want to get that clear. So here is this product called the Integration Cloud Service. It is one instance worldwide for this capability, and the idea is you log on as a user and you have this thing that does not look like a technical type product. I don't suggest business people use this product, but I'm saying it's a much more easier to use product, and Oracle's got this new look and feel to make it easier to absorb and less training. And what you can see there is connections, integrations, monitoring, lookups, because male and female in this system is M and F in this system, so you can have the way to enrich it. Being able to track it beyond some sort of little code, have it via descriptive and management. So I click on connections, and without me doing any work, based upon my organisation and my subscription, I can actually see the applications I automatically have got configured because of my access. So eBusiness Suite, which is an on-premise product, Configure Price Quote, cloud, Sales Cloud, Salesforce.com, which is cloud, but it's somebody else's, and as well as the Service Cloud as well. So those things automatically come through. And then, given it knows what these applications are, you don't have to be a rocket scientist for this next screen. The next screen shows these are the likely integrations we think you may be interested in. And the next screen, so you can see, get opportunities from Sales Cloud that works between Configure Price Quote and Sales Cloud. And you can actually see that it's got that little thing there, built by Oracle, right? So you actually know, we've tested it, we know it works. You can, I'm not going to do it now, but you can then click in on that and you can see the mappings and the code and the fault management. You can see all of that capability behind that. You can then go in and override it and tailor it accordingly if you like, or you can do a copy like as and do your own thing. You then actually hit those buttons on the right-hand side that says activate, and that gets that up and going. And then we've also got a little dashboard here that actually shows you with your integrations how many have been moving through, how many messages, response time, and you can actually scroll down the screen and it actually sees how many of those. The integration cloud service looks like it only works for apps. If you've got other technologies within your own organisation, you can use it accordingly for, it comes with adapters, so you can use it accordingly. Obviously things like REST, SOAP, etc. Let's talk about mobile cloud service. And so we've got all these SaaS-based applications, we've got all these on-premise-based applications, and we realise that a lot of these actually come with mobile apps. But do I actually want my employees or my customers to have 30 mobile apps? Maybe not. They have to cut and paste and swap in between. So is there an opportunity for me to develop a more of a task-based mobile app? And the answer is yes. Well, if you're going to do that, the very first thing you need to do is actually define what are some of the business services that are a layer above the applications. So they make sense for your organisation completely independently of what the back-end apps are. Because you're probably going to chop and change apps. And you want them so they can be consumed. You then want to have them such they're in a catalogue so then people can actually understand what they are. And you can then drive the governance accordingly. And then obviously we need to have the appropriate security, access and management policies applied to that. And then ideally we then have a browser-based capability, point and click, and create and deploy these mobile apps. And then we want some user configurable capabilities. So let's have a look at this product, Mobile Cloud Service. It looks very similar to the Integration Cloud Service. It looks very similar. In fact, I'd probably say 80% of the code was taken from one and provided to the other. Because a lot of the functionality is the same. It's just task-based accordingly. So what we can see here is Application Accelerator, we've got mobile backends, we've got user management, we've got those connectors again, we've got APIs and the need for storage. So what I'm going to do now is go through a scenario of how you would actually build something relatively quickly. So we actually want to get something that was currently based on a tablet. We want to have it reformatted now for a phone. So the back-end services had already been created. So let's have a look at that. So the very first thing that comes up is a nice little wizard-based approach. It actually shows general, first screen, screen details, quick start review. Oops, I put in that the application is called iFixItFast for a little cable company where I get some work orders. I'm going to pick a phone, I actually pick an icon. I then have the opportunity to pick an array of different layouts that make sense for the front screen. I also have the actual details within that front screen, the layout of what I'd like to pick. And you say, where did Oracle get all this knowledge from? How do we know how to do this mobile development stuff at this point and click? It's because of all those SaaS-based apps, most of them do have mobile front-end capabilities. So we're just taking advantage of a lot of that knowledge and packaging it in here. And this is the tooling that we're using for the development of our SaaS-based mobile apps, and we're now sharing it accordingly. Once I've actually done that, I have not bound any API, but I've actually done enough to go and then show a couple of business users, is this the sort of look and feel that you're looking for? So I scan that QR code, bang, the app comes down on my iPhone or my Android, and then I go get the feedback, are we heading in the right direction? Once they, so this is actually quick turnaround time, low investment. It doesn't mean I get angry after I've spent 3 months developing something. I can actually get feedback relatively quickly. Once I've done that, I then come back and look for the service API. Yes, it was the same one we used for the tablet app, and I'm going to go ahead and pick work orders. I then actually put it in there, I set up what I need there, and bang, I can go back to the end user again and actually say I've got something new relatively going. And once again, we've actually got the screen that helps you look at how many users, what are they doing, how many work orders have been dispatched. Once again, the thing I didn't show you up here is the ability to actually bind into different technologies or different applications. There's a little developer kit here, REST, SOAP, that you can actually bind in. My favourite, Document Cloud. Now, everyone's got files all over the place. We want them so they can be effectively ubiquitously accessed, whether it's via my Apple, my Android, my PC. I want to be able to make changes with it, and I want to be able to sync it accordingly. And you want to be able to see how things have changed, because all of us now are a lot more available in terms of updating proposals or updating forecasts or updating documents of sorts. And we want to be able to control this content, whether it's on-premise or in the cloud, and we want to be able to encourage these documents for any process or project that's out there, and as well as right alongside our SaaS-based applications. So what have we got there in that space? So Oracle has got something very similar to a Dropbox. It's very similar, but it's from Oracle, and it's an enterprise-ready capability that's got the UI for a browser-based interface, a desktop-based interface, a tablet-based interface, a phone-based interface, and I can, and I do, have documents that I want to send to people that I'm using for a small engagement. I send them an email link, I send them a public link, and as long as I can actually put in an expiry period of how long that's valid for, and I can give them a permission code. And bang, they hit that link by that period, etc., they can download that document. I can also, as the owner of the folder and the documents, I can see when these documents were touched and how they were dealt with. All of that tracing, all the stuff you'd expect Oracle to have with this security and auditing and intelligence, it's all there as part of the product. The other thing that is really, really cool, our SaaS-based applications like sales and service, etc., all are set up so you can use Document Cloud out of the box. So if you've got 4 or 5 people using the actual SaaS app, but there's 20 other people that need to touch the document, it's not another step. It's all part of the same environment. Why do I like the Document Cloud service? Very similar to what the Okta boys were saying. That, hey, you can buy this, you're up and going tomorrow, and you're actually, the value is realised. My second favourite is the Process Cloud. Why do I love this? Because it is severely connected to the business. The top line is what gets me going. Business-led. So the business knows what they want. They know how to articulate what they want. They can describe their process. And the workshops I've done with people is tell me your process, and we write steps out, get those steps transferred onto yellow post-its, and then you start arguing about those processes. Once you've done that manual and physical activity, you can then actually put it into our Process Cloud, and it is web and mobile ready to go on your tablets. Collaboratively build processes with rules, documents, services and data. It is cloud-based, it's point and click, no coding. And if you've got a set of services, APIs from your apps, whether they're on-premise, etc., you can utilise them there. I'm actually going to go straight to the demonstration here, the demo environment. So this Process Cloud, it is, once again, the look and feel is about something that you can touch with your tablet. You're pulling your fingers across. Here you can see work on tasks, track instances, view dashboards, and develop the actual processes. Here's an example of processes that have been deployed and running. And what you actually see here is that these are just things that you can point and click at, bring them up and approve, review, reassign, all the sorts of things you'd expect to see in a process management capability or workflow capability. We've got that there pure. And it's also able to be formed for the phone as well. So you can cut business processes and they will be available to be run and accessible on PCs, tablets and phones right now. And here's what it looks like from the browser. That pretty much ends the session. I have not done justice to the Process Cloud, Document Cloud, Mobile Cloud, Integration Cloud. Each one of those products require about an hour deep dive and then discussion with you guys. All I really wanted to do was give you an idea where Oracle is going. So we have changed as an organisation. We've still got a lot more changing to do. It is pretty exciting. Our success in the SaaS-based arena has really driven what we're doing in the PaaS space now. Thank you very much, and thank you for setting up.